Jayo Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Shyama Sundar Shri Radhe. Jayo Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Shyama Sundar Shri Radhe.
Yatha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Shri Radhe.
Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jai Om Vishnuvad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Divine Grace Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya Acharya Guruvar ki
Jai
Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki प्रेम
Jai
से गौर श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।
Jai
श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। श्री
Jai
वृंदावन मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय।
Jai
गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय।
Jai
Samaved Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Gaur
Oh,
Premanande. Hari Hari Go. So as requested by the ISKCON Central New Jersey, the topic today is based on one of the important components of Bhagavad Gita. There are 5 subject matters in the Bhagavad Gita. What are they? Jiva, Atma, Paramatma, Prakriti, and also Kal, time, and Karma. So, the topic that we will be discussing today is something about the soul as requested. There will be references that I will try to quote from Bhagavad Gita as well as other scriptures that is Divine Krishna Prabhupada has quoted, so that we can at least get some insight. Now, generally speaking, anything that we try to assimilate in our spiritual life, there are 3 facets. One is knowledge, the second is understanding, and the third is realization. So, we may have the knowledge that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. Most of us, we are aware of that, especially those who have been born and raised in India. So we have knowledge of the soul. And then the next level will be the understanding. Understanding is when we hear from the right source, from different realized souls, and we study their Vani, we study their teachings, so we can get some understanding. And realization is obtained once we obtain that kripa. Most of us, we do need to cross the level of understanding and come to the state of realization. So I can give a very simple example of these 3 facets or these 3 components. Let's say most of us, I'm assuming that we were born in India, and when we were in India, we had knowledge about the United States as an example, right? But we had no understanding or no realization. Sitting there in India, wherever we were, we gathered some information from friends, family, libraries, etc. Now, once we came here to the US, we had an understanding of the US, like how the traffic works, as an example, right? It's not like driving in India, as an example. The rules, the safety, and so many different cultural things we practically experienced. So that is called an understanding. And realization example is when we practically live that life as per the perfect rules of that land. And in this example that I am giving is United States. So similarly, uh, we have to first acquire the proper knowledge and then the understanding and the realization. Unless and until we reach the realization of the soul, the state of soul, we will always kind of remain on the bodily concept, on the Dehatma Buddhi. And Krishna, especially in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, he has given so many wonderful, but chapter 2 is the summary of the Bhagavad Gita. The entire chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, or the entire Bhagavad Gita summarized. So in that, there are many wonderful shlokas that Krishna is quoting to Arjun. And just if we take one particular shloka in chapter 2, verse number 20, na jayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyoh ajo nityah shashvato ayam purano na hanyate hanya mane sharire. So what does that mean? Here Krishna has very nicely, explicitly explained what the soul is, or what the characteristics of the soul are. So, na jayate, what does it mean? The soul, ja means janma, and ayate means to come into existence. Takes na jayate, mriyate, it does not die. Va, never. Kadachit, at any time, meaning past, present, or future. Na ayam, na jayate mriyate va kadachit, na ayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyo. Neither in the past, present, or in the future will it cease to exist. It is ajo. These are the symptoms of the soul. Ajo means it is unborn. Ja means janma, and aja means the opposite. One that is not ever come as a, like things take birth, but the soul doesn't take birth. It has always existed. Ajo. Nitya. Nitya means eternal. Shashvato also is meaning eternal or permanent. Ayam Purano. And the soul is the oldest. We cannot even put a time frame like millions of years or billions of years. In one sense, it has always existed. And na hanyate hanyamane sharire. When the body is slain, the soul that is residing in the body is not killed. So like that, there are many wonderful slokas, vasansi, jirnani, yatha, vihayo, etc., etc. Chapter 2 is full of these wonderful explanations and characteristics of the soul. So, also, Srila Prabhupada in this particular shloka itself has quoted that the soul's characteristics is the same thing that has been quoted in the Kathopanishad. In the Kathopanishad, it's the same words almost. Na jayate mriyate va vipaschin nayam kutaschim na babhuva kaschit ajo nitya shashvato ayam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. So it's exactly the same meaning as in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, verse number 20. And as far as the soul is concerned, what is the soul basically? It is the part and parcel of Sri Krishna. We are fragmental parts and parcels of Krishna, just like fire and the spark. So the spark has the same qualities as fire, but the difference between a spark and a big fire is the big fire is huge, it is humongous, whereas the spark is very minute. And we are separated portions of Krishna. So qualitatively we are one, but quantitatively Krishna is Vibhu. Vibhu means unlimited or great, and we are Anu. Anu means we are very infinitesimal or very atomic. So some of you all may already know what is the size of the soul. So Prabhupada has mentioned in his commentaries in several places that how big is the soul. So it is so microscopic that if you take the tip of the hair, if we have a piece of hair, one single hair, and you take the tip, you can divide that into 10,000 pieces. The tip, not the complete hair. So supposing we have a little hair that sometimes it falls in the bathroom or in the bathroom sink, you pick up that little piece of hair and the tip, and if you have the capability to cut them into 10,000 pieces, that is how small it has been described in the Shastras. That is how small the soul is. And of course, Krishna is unlimited. But the qualities of the soul are Sat, Chit, Ananda. Just like Krishna is Satchit Ananda. Sat means it is eternal. Chitta means it is cognizant or full of knowledge. The realized soul. And Ananda means once the soul is situated on the Brahma Bhuta platform, then at that time one gets the bliss. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita further, he says, what are the symptoms of a realized soul? So, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma, na shochati na kankshati, sama sarveshu bhuteshu, mad bhaktir labhate param. Very wonderful explanation here. So, what are the symptoms of a realized soul? Realized soul, Krishna says, is that he is, first of all, situated fully on the Satchidananda platform, Brahma Bhuta. Brahma means the full realization of Brahman Janati iti Brahman. One who has realized that I am not this body, I am a soul. And the third component is very important. I am an eternal servant of Krishna. I am a part and parcel of Sri Krishna. So these three components are very important. Even if there are two components, I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, does not necessarily give you full realization. Those realizations are obtained by Mayavadis. They also know that Aham Brahmasmi, I am a spirit, soul. Aham Brahmasmi. But they do not consider that they are eternal servants of Sri Krishna. They do not consider that Sri Krishna himself is Purna Purushottam Bhagwan. They consider that they are parts and parcel of the Brahman, means the Brahma Jyoti, or the undifferentiated energy. So that is their realization, which is partial. But the full realization of a Vaishnava is that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, and I am an eternal servant of Sri Krishna. When we have all these three components, then we are really situated on a Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma. Prasanna Atma means we are always very, very, very much in bliss, in Ananda. Prasanna Atma. Na sochati, na kankshati. Never hankering after anything and never ever lamenting about anything. So now we can kind of analyze ourselves, although we have been in this glorious movement of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON for many years. How many of us, if we are very truthful, we can say that we have that realization of Brahma Bhuta? If we are very honest to ourselves, because we are always, most of us, at least I can say for myself, I'm not going to make a commentary on any of the esteemed Vaishnavas here, but I will leave it up to them to analyze their own, to make it more introspective. But we are all kind of, hankering after things, material things. Are we not? Somewhere, we have We want our home, we want our car, we want our money, we want our bank account, but we also want Krishna. If we are very honest, supposing if somebody says that, and we all know knowledge is there. We talked about knowledge, understanding, and realization. A lot of us have the knowledge, a lot of us have the understanding, but the realization is the most difficult part. Because if somebody says that we all have the understanding and knowledge that everything here is temporary, everything here is ephemeral, and uh, including relationships, whether it is father, mother, son, daughter, etc. Everything is temporary, but in spite of that, we are attached, deeply attached, as a matter of fact. But at the same time, the good thing is, or the good news is, that we are still even attracted to Krishna. But it's like we want to keep our feet in both areas. So that is not the the uh, the Brahma Bhuta, or the full realized personality, which is the nature of the soul. So we have to understand that once we attain the Brahma Bhuta platform, Bhut means soul. Actually, in Sanskrit, Bhut has many different meanings. And in Bhagavad Gita, uh, mostly the word when they say Bhut means living entity. And living entity means the soul. So these are the symptoms that never ever lamenting and never ever. So lamenting, are we not lamenting, or we are hankering after things? Supposing if we lose a lot of money, or we lose something very much dear to us in terms of family relationships, then we are lamenting. So that is the thing. Krishna starts the Bhagavad Gita by telling Arjun, what does he say? I think it's the 13th verse of the second chapter. Dehi no asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantar praptihi dhiras tatra na muhyati. So as this embodied soul goes through the different transmigration process from when one attains the human body, right from childhood to youth to old age, and then after old age, the body is finished. So those who are fully realized, those who are Brahma Bhuta, they will never, they will never lament. Dhiras tatra. That is also another. Dhira means one who does not show a lot of unnecessary happiness, or one does not lament for material things or on the bodily concept. So this is what Krishna is telling Arjun, because Arjun refused to fight, and Krishna wanted this adharma to end, and he was going to choose somebody. And somehow or other, because Arjun is his friend, Arjun is his devotee, Krishna wanted to make him an instrument to stop the atrocities of Duryodhan and party. And that is the reason. But because Arjun was not ready to fight, because he was situated at that time under the influence of Yoga Maya, for our sake. It is not that the associates of Krishna, they are always on a Brahmabhut platform, or are always realized. But sometimes they are voluntarily accepting, like they are ignorant under the influence of Maya, as if they are common human beings. And then the question answers start, as we all know in the Bhagavad Gita, it is for our benefit. So that is the reason why Krishna is saying that, if one is a Dhira or a Brahmabhuta, he doesn't lament over the living or the dead, neither the living or the dead, because we know. Another example is like old clothes. So the soul again is encased by two bodies. So we have this body that we see with our own eyes, which is known as the gross body, known as, what is it known as? Sthul Sharir. And it is made of the Pancha Mahabhut, earth, water, air, fire, and ether. And within this body, there is another body known as Sukshma Sharir. The Sukshma Sharir, or subtle body, it cannot be seen. It is something that you can experience, you can feel, but you cannot see it. As an example of sukshma or subtle, you can see a rose flower, but you cannot see its fragrance. You can smell the fragrance, you can feel that this is a rose flower in the room. So that presence of the soul is felt in the body through the symptoms, and that is there. The sukshma sharir, or the second body, just like we usually, let's say it is winter time, we wear an over a jacket, and inside the jacket we have a shirt, right? And then inside the shirt the body is there. So similarly, the soul is encased with the first layer, which is known as the sukshma sharir, that is made up of man, buddhi, and ahankar, mind, intelligence, and false ego. And over that there is another covering which we see here, which is made up of earth, water, air, fire, and ether. This pancha mahabhut. So the realization part would take us to the part where this body, both the bodies will be finished at one time once we attain Brahmabhuta state or full realization, and the soul is completely free and it is full of knowledge. What is that knowledge? That I am a servant of Krishna, as Sat, I am eternal, and Ananda. When one has these three components, I am a spirit soul, I am eternal, and I am a servant of Krishna, these three things, then one is fully happy, Ananda, bliss, because that is the nature of the soul, because that is what Krishna is. Krishna is the source of everything. In Srimad Bhagavatam and Vedanta Sutra, the very first two words are Janmadi Yasya. In Vedanta Sutra, the words Janmadi Yasya, that is the first Vedanta Sutra. And the first two words of Srimad Bhagavatam are Janmadi Yasya, of the very first sloka. Hare Krishna. So, in that it says, it's a very deep meaning. Actually, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has mentioned, even Prabhupada has mentioned, that the very first sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam is the summum bonum of everything. And many acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sridhar Swami and Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, etc. And of course, our Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji have given wonderful commentaries. And some of the commentaries, they last, or the lectures have lasted for months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, just on the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is so amazing and it is so complex. At the same time, when you do Vistar, actually, we have all heard of Vyasdev, right? Ved Vyas, right? What does Vyas mean? Vyas means to expound. So supposing we are taking one shloka, so whoever the speaker is, and he takes that one shloka and he expounds. It takes maybe half a minute to read that shloka, but the lecture is maybe 1 hour or 2 hours. And sorry about that. There has been a little interruption. So 1, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, the katha is going on. So that is called expounding. Expounding, or the expansion of the verses or the meaning, getting into the inner meaning of a particular word or a verse, is known as, somebody who does that is known as Vyasa. The compiler of all the Vedas is Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasa. And that is why whoever is speaking is known as Katha Vyas, or we call the seat known as Vyasa Asana, because that person or that personality is expanding on the scripture. So, Janmadi Yasya, these two words, Krishna is the source of everything. Janam means the complete source, and that means the spiritual worlds, all the expansions, all the avatars, and then the material worlds, all the different planetary systems, and so many Prakriti, nature, etc. All these are emanating from Krishna through his agencies or through his avatars. But Krishna is the Mula. What is that first verse of Brahma Samhita? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Anand Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. So the fact is that even the soul is his part and parcel. Now, why is it important? Somebody may ask that why are we servants of Krishna? That question may arise. What is the reason? Why should we worship Krishna? Why should we be engaged in Krishna Seva or Krishna service? So for that, His Divine Grace Prabhupada has given some wonderful explanations and examples. So one good example would be that, let's say, if there is a very complex piece of machinery and one small component or a screw gets detached from it, right? Now, if somebody who doesn't have the proper knowledge will discard that screw in the garbage because they don't know where to engage it in its proper place. So then it is almost good as no value. Another good example that I can kind of think of, sometimes we find that in an accident, as a matter of fact, just now a few minutes ago, one devotee who just came from New Vrindavan mentioned that another devotee was supposed to come here to New Jersey, but he could not come because one of the pilgrims, they were wearing their shoes and they had taken the support of the huge door of New Vrindavan, the huge gate when you enter the main temple. And somehow the other, two fingers were in that wedge where the hinges are, where the door opens and closes. And while they were wearing their shoes, their hands were there and somebody opened the door. That means that section got closed and completely the two top portions of the finger got almost amputated. They got cut. So what happens if the finger gets detached from the body? No matter how much money we would try to tell the doctor, please put it back. I don't have a problem paying you hundreds and thousands of dollars if I have to through surgery. Please give it back to me. And doctor said, okay, we'll try different kinds of surgery. We will do all that. But somehow or the other, if with all attempts, if that fails and if that finger cannot be reattached to the body, what happens to this finger? That finger goes in the biohazard bin. It goes in the garbage. And supposing if somebody says, this is your finger, gives you in a Ziploc, take it home. They will say, I don't want to even see it. Please take it away. It's very gross. So why? Because it is not attached to the whole. Once it is attached to the whole, it has value. But once it is detached from the whole, it has no value. Similarly, the soul, once is attached to Krishna, once it is engaged to Krishna in Krishna Seva, it has full value. Once it is detached from Krishna, then it has no value. No value because from Anadikal, from time immemorial, we are simply going around in this Brahman, in this universal different, through the acts of karma, sometimes in the higher planetary systems, in the Swargiya planets, sometimes on the earthly planet, sometimes in the Narkiya lokas, in the different hellish planets. We are going, Ei Rupe Brahman Brahmite. We are simply oscillating up and down, sometimes in the middle, and simply suffering through the pains, because that is samsara. We use this word quite often. Samsara is a Sanskrit word. What does samsara mean? Samyak saram iti samsara. The samyak sar of this material world is what? What is the sar or the essence of this material world? Four things. That is the essence. Somebody says, Samsar means these four things automatically are there. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, and Vyadhi. Birth, death, old age, and disease. This is the quality of samsara. Even if one is in Brahmalok, where Lord Brahma resides, which is the topmost planet out of the 14 planetary systems, there also there is the component of birth, death, old age, and disease, because that is the quality. Supposing if this bottle that I have, it's a plastic bottle, so there is only so much strength it has, because it is made of polypropylene and it is something that has got low density. So as you can see, I'm trying to squeeze it and you can see it is very easily squeezed. But if I take a metal, for example, this kartal that I have, and if I try to squeeze it with my fingers, I think I'm going to go crazy with pain, but nothing's going to happen to it. Why? Because this is the material it is made of, and this is the material this plastic bottle is made of. So similarly, this sansar is, we have to go through these sufferings. Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, when he was a young man, about 22 years old, when he was going home from his work, he was, as you all know, if you have read the Leela Amrit, Srila Prabhupada, when he finished his job, he was leaving at Dr. Karthik Bose's laboratory. And at that time, his friend came and says, Abhay, today I want you to come with me. And I want you to meet a great sadhu. So what did Abhay Babu say? Abhay Charana Ravinda De. He said, Baba, I don't want to come. My father, Gaur Mohan De, was such a wonderful Vaishnava and a very innocent Vaishnava. He used to call all sadhus in the house. Anybody who was dressed in saffron, and he would call them. And I have seen with my own eyes that he would feed them, he would give them dakshina, and then when they would leave, they would go around the corner and they would go to the pan shop, bidi shop, or they would either smoke ganja, charas, or they would buy tobacco. So I'm not interested in seeing, I've seen all kinds of sadhus in my young age, and I'm not. I better go home and I have my duties and I would like to do my seva. So at that time, his friend said, I think his name was Narendra Malik, if I'm not mistaken. So Narendra ji told Abhay Babu, Abhay, just 5 minutes. You won't be disappointed. And Abhay said, no. So there was literally a tug of war. He was pulling his sleeve and Abhay said, no. Then he said, just 5 minutes, come. So our Prabhupada at that time, Abhay Charan De, said, okay, only for 5 minutes I'm coming. And I'm telling you, if I don't like it, I'm getting up and leaving. So they went in a very old area, which is the famous place. Now ISKCON has obtained that building, number 1 Ulta Danga Road in Kolkata. And His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was giving pravachan on the terrace. So just like we have home programs, the program was going on. And many devotees were assembled. And Abhay Babu and Narendra Malik Babu, they both went and sat in the back. When Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur saw them young, especially when he looked at Abhay Babu, our Prabhupada, ISKCON founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, he said, you seem to be a very educated person. Why don't you preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Bhagavad Vani, to the English-speaking world? So as usual, when the lecture is finished or when there's an opportunity to ask a question, Abhay Babu respectfully told this sannyasi, Maharaj, and believe me, this is 1922. When did India get independence? 1947. So at that time, he says, Maharaj, who is going to listen to Bhagavad Vani? Right now we are slaves. We are under the British Raj. Our main dharma, duty, is to free our country from the British Raj, from slavery. And Srila Prabhupada at that time was he had very strictly followed the Gandhi movement. He had taken to Swaraj. Swaraj means he always wore Swadesh. He had given up wearing foreign or British clothing. As a matter of fact, he had even given up his convocation degree that was bestowed upon him, his graduation. by the Scottish Church's college. He had even given that up. So he was following Gandhiji very strictly, wearing the khadi clothes, wearing the Gandhi topi, and he was very much into it. So at that time, he said, we have to free our country. Freedom, that's what we are. That's what we have to aim. Nobody's going to listen to this Bhagavad Katha or Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad Vani. So what did Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur say? This is amazing, life-changing Leela. He said, are we really free? Nobody wants to die, but death is forced upon us. Nobody wants to grow old, but it is forced upon us to grow old. Nobody wants to fall sick or disease. It is forced upon us. And we have recently seen in the last 2 or 3 or 2.5 years how COVID afflicted all of us, how many near and dear people, friends, so many people we lost. And nobody wanted that, but it came. It is forced, right? So, and birth is also forced. It is not that sometimes we find people saying, Are Baba, this life has been horrible. Oh, Bhagwan, I don't want to be born again. Or give me a nice birth. Give me the birth of a Devta or a demigod. Give me a birth in heaven so I can enjoy. I'm very poor, so it's so bad. But no, based on our karma, it is forced that we will take birth in a particular family, in a particular place, in a particular circumstances. It is forced on us. It is not that we have a choice. Once we act, then the reaction, we don't have a choice in the reaction. So Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, Dukkha Dosha Anudarshanam. It is something that we have to see that this is a huge problem, a huge misery. And we have to see Anudarshan. Anudarshan means very minutely examine this situation. Just like I like to give this example. Supposing if you are in the house and you see that one chair, one of the legs is shaky. And if you observe it, you can fix it. Otherwise, if you sit on it, you can fall. So that is Anudarshanam. So you will take a nail or a screw or call a carpenter and fix it. And once that is fixed, then you're good to go. But supposing if someone has not seen that faulty leg, then what will happen? Definitely there will be a bad fall, bad injury. One can even break their head. And that's exactly what is happening to all of us. Again and again, we are getting injured. So much pain in this material world through different miseries that we are facing. So Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Dosha, this is Krishna himself is advising that. Krishna himself has made this. So example, this is made of plastic, same owner. This is made of metal, same owner, as an example. Let's say these are made in the same factory. But the factory owner is saying that, why don't you take this? This is a strong material. But we decide, no, I want this. I want this. I want to take this. And I'm attached to something inferior. So that is the thing that we have to. So what Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada is saying, are we really free? These 4 things are forced upon us. The freedom that you're talking about is temporary. What is the guarantee today that India will be freed from the British, but 200 years down the road or in the future, it will not be annexed by another country? And even recently we have seen, right now we are saying that Russia has invaded Ukraine. What is the guarantee? Tomorrow, maybe a few other countries will invade Russia. It can happen. A few years ago, it was Saddam Hussein who invaded Kuwait. He took over Kuwait and later he was kicked out of Kuwait and he was even killed. So these events are always there. And one wonderful remark, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that politicians will change, but politics will not change. The kind of freedom that I'm talking about is eternal. I'm talking about the freedom of the soul. So, as they say in Hindi, na rahega baas, na bajegi bansuri. What it means is, if there is no bamboo, then there's no question of a flute. So, when you eradicate this whole bodily concept, and when one is situated on a Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma platform, then one, whether is, even if he is in the material world, he is not of the material world. Another wonderful example that comes to mind. Sri Prabhupada, as an example, himself and many other great pure devotees, they are in this material world when they come down, but they are not of the material world. Example, Prabhupada gives, I will quote Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, that when you, let's say, when you go to Washington, D.C., as an example, we have the American embassy there. I'm sorry, we have many embassies. We have the British embassy, for example, or we have the Indian embassy. So the Indian embassy or the British embassy is in Washington, D.C., and it is in the land of North America. It is in the land of United States, but it is not of United States. So once one goes inside the doors of that particular country's embassy or consulate, then even the United States does not have any jurisdiction. And those who have some information, says so in the past, we find in the Eastern Bloc, Poland, Russia, they used to escape, go to Germany, and they would enter somehow or the other, knock the doors and enter into the American consulate and say, I'm taking refuge. And the police would follow them, but they could not go inside. So similarly, our pure devotees, although they are in the material world, they are not of the material world. Because they are Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, they are beyond the bodily concept, they are completely situated on the platform of the soul. So this is important, that the soul, and that is our goal actually. Until and unless we don't attain that, it is impossible to attain the real spiritual goal. There is actually three components to spirituality as explained by our Gaudiya Acharyas. One is that is called Sambandha. The second is Abhidhyay. And the third is Prayojan. So Sambandha means first we have to establish a relationship. Even in our material life or in our material experience, when, let's say, I'll give a good example, when somebody is going to get married, a young boy, young girl. So what do? First, they establish a Sambandha. They establish a relationship, right? How do they establish a relationship? That is how it's done, is they hear about that person. Oh, he's such a wonderful boy. They hear from parents, from friends, very well educated. He is making good money, very well mannered. All these good qualities they hear. So the parents of the girl or the girl, when she hears, is attracted automatically to that person, and vice versa. So when one hears about a particular entity or a particular person, one either gets attracted or distracted, or likes or dislikes. Supposing somebody says, oh, no, he looks like that, but he's a rascal. He goes at night to the nightclubs, he goes drinks, and he does all this, and he does so many wrong things. He's not what you think he is. So then the person says, okay, not interested. We don't want to establish a relationship. So that relationship that we need to establish is with the eternal person who is Sri Krishna. And how do you establish that Sri Krishna? By hearing about Krishna, through following the Nauda Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, etc. When we do that, we establish a relationship. That is called Sambandha, first stage. And that is known as Sadhana Bhakti. Sambandha is established through Sadhana Bhakti. And then the next stage is known as the Abhidhyay. Abhidhyay is when we sincerely chant, when we sincerely do Bhajana Kriya, Ado Shraddha, Tatha Sadho Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, then it is Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, and then Krishna Prem. These are the different stages. So now if we analyze, where do we stand? Most of us, I would say, we have not even gone through the Anartha Nivritti stage. We have Sadhu Sang, somehow or the other, by the mercy of His Divine Grace Prabhupada, we can associate with devotees, we can associate with Srila Prabhupada's books through his Vani. But Anartha Nivritti, and that is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended, in order to become Brahma Bhuta, or to understand and realize that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul, and we are fully das anudas. Somebody asked Mahaprabhu, who are you? What's your identification? Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the designation of a sannyasi, he could have said that I am a sannyasi. He says, Amita sannyasi nai. I am not a sannyasi. I am not a brahmachari. I am not a grasta. I am not a vanaprastha. I am not this. I am not that. Then who are you, my dear sir? Gopi bhartu padakamalayo Das anu das anu das anu das. I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the maintainer of the gopis. And who is the maintainer of Gopi Bharta is Sri Krishna. So that particular process Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends in his Chaitanya Sishtastakam, how to realize. We have knowledge, we have understanding of the soul, but realization is through Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadava Agni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadu Jivanam, Ananda Ambudi Vardhanam, Pratipada Purna Amrit Swadanam, Sarvatma Snapannam, Param Vijayate, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is an amazing verse. Again, this can take months. Those who are interested, perhaps they can. I have a website known as pureseva.ca, ca not com. CA is Canada. pureseva.ca, and there are 26 sessions on the Chaitanya Sistastakam. So if you feel to get more details, but the essence is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is just not Krishna. He is Radha Krishna Eka Tanu hai Nidhuvan Maje Vamshi Bajaye. He is Nandanandan Krishna. He is that Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is that Supreme Personality of Godhead in the mood of the topmost devotee, Sri Radha. So, two personalities are speaking Chaitanya Sistastakam. Two greatest personalities in this entire creation. Not one person. Two persons are speaking and they are saying that please cleanse your heart. How? Cheto Darpana. Cheto means your consciousness. And consciousness root is in the heart, in the mana. Mana is situated in the heart. Cheto Darpana, Marjanam, cleanse it. But how do you clean it? Something dirty, we see it, okay, we can clean it with a piece of cloth, with a wet. But how do you clean our heart? Since time immemorial, we have accumulated so much dirt. Just like, those of you all probably have a home in Vrindavan or in your native town in India. And let's say you have not gone there for 2 years. You open the doors and you see so much dust. If you have not gone there for 5 years, 10 years, more and more layers of dust. It takes hours and hours and hours to clean. Can you imagine the dirt that we have since Anadikal? Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ji says, not even thousands, not even millions, not even trillions of years. Anadikal means you cannot even, Anadi means no beginning. Since time immemorial. Prabhupada has translated that as since time immemorial. You cannot even remember. Since that time we have accumulated so much dirt. So Mahaprabhu, Radha Krishna combined have said, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Please take to this process of the Sankirtan. Cheto Darpana. Then we will get the realization that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, and I am an eternal servant of Krishna. And when we say eternal servant of Krishna, it also means, Prabhupada has said many times, it is Krishna is never alone, like a president or a prime minister of a country. When they say, like for example, we've heard that Prime Minister Modi is here in the United States. So it is not Prime Minister Modi who has taken a seat in an economy class and just traveled by himself. He has come with his entire entourage, with his ministers, with his advisors, with his chef, with so many different persons, security, the whole plane. So, but it is said, the news comes, Prime Minister Modi in New Jersey or Prime Minister Modi in DC, right? They don't have to spell out the other persons who are accompanying him. So similarly, when we say Krishna, especially our Gaudiya Vaishnavas, it is not just Krishna, it is Nandanandan Krishna along with his parshads, along with his associates, the gopis, they are there, the manjaris, the Vrajvasis, they're non-different. Why? Because Krishna himself has declared in the next verse of Chaitanya Sistastakam, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis, the word Nija. So what is Nija? When we introduce somebody, comes to our house, they say, this is my daughter, my son, my father. That is Nija, means mine. So similarly, when Krishna says Nija Sarva Shaktis. All these Vrajvasis are mine. So Krishna means, so we are eternal servants of the servants of the servants of the servants of Krishna, and that can be obtained by chanting the holy names. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. When we chant the holy names, then all the anarthas are eradicated. And when the anarthas are eradicated, then we will be situated on the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na shochati, na kankshati, sama sarveshu bhuteshu. We will see everybody equally. We will not distinguish that this is a friend or an enemy, or this is Hindu or Muslim, or this is Christian or Jew. Like Srila Prabhupada, when he came to the Western country, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada always wanted to take morning walks. So after returning from the West, in Bombay, Juhu temple, he was taking a walk at the Juhu beach. And Prabhupada always used to interact with one personality called Dr. Bhogilal Patel. And Prabhupada loved to debate with him. And there were many of Prabhupada's disciples who would get to learn something, because Dr. Patel was a very educated Jnani. He had read the Quran, he had read the Bible, he had read the Vedanta, he had read the Bhagavad Gita. And he would sometimes, argue with Prabhupada. This, and Prabhupada would defeat him. So one time, Dr. Patel, he said, Swamiji, Bhagavad Gita says that Pandita Samadarshina, one who is a realized soul, looks upon everybody equally. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochatina sama sarveshu bhuteshu. So, Swamiji, why you are calling these scientists rascals? Why do you do that? Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. So, can you imagine what Prabhupada said? He stopped right in his tracks. He took his cane and he circulated his cane, showing all his different disciples from all over the world. Some white disciples, some oriental, some black disciples. And he said that our version of Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma is to give Krishna consciousness equally to everyone, without any distinction. So that is Brahma Bhuta. That is the situation. And that is what Srila Prabhupada wants us to be situated on the platform of the soul and not on the bodily concept. And it is possible through the teachings and the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Once that happens, then when we are situated on the Brahma Bhuta platform, we will actually get Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. We will get the moon rays that will open up, that will blossom the white lily in our heart. What is that white lily in our heart? Is our heart is so cleansed that the moon rays of Nityananda Prabhu is Adi Guru, he is Balram. So when Lord Balram, through his different agents, like Srila Prabhupada, gives us instructions, it is so transparent that when you shine a beam of light on a wonderful surface, it will reflect back. And then we will be able to reflect back by giving Krishna consciousness to all. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitarnam. Vitarnam means to give freely. That is a Vaishnava. That is the thing that pleases Krishna the most. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that one who preaches this message or who does preaching is very dear to me. Somebody so dear that I can say that nobody in the past, present, or future is as dear to me as that person. And that is the reason Srila Prabhupada was sent from Golok. Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale. It is very easy to stay in Golok and say, it's so difficult to go down there and, to deal with the material world. But when Krishna said, no, please go, he told. And not everybody is capable and not everybody is interested. Once you go back to Godhead, everybody has a different kind of a service they're interested in. And Krishna is kind. Okay, you want to serve me like this, you do it. But the higher service is what Krishna wants me to do. Anukulina Krishna Anushilanam Tad Bhakti Ruttam. Anya Vilashata Shunya Jnana Karma Navratam Anukulina Krishna Anushilanam Tad Bhaktir Uttam. What is the topmost bhakti? Uttam Bhakti is that whatever Krishna wants me to do, I will do it. And that's the thing that Arjun did in the Bhagavad Gita as well. After hearing Bhagavad Gita, he says, Nashtamo smriti labda tvat prasadad maya achyuta gata sandeha stito asmi karishya vachanam tavaha. Now by your mercy, O Krishna, all my doubts have been eradicated. Gata sandeha stito asmi. Now I am situated in my intelligence. Tvat prasadad maya achyuta. By your mercy, O Achyuta, O Krishna. Karishya vachanam tava. Now I will do exactly as you say. You want me to take my bow and arrow and fight against my grandsire Bhishma Dev, I will do it. You want me to shower arrows on Dronacharya, my guru, I will do it. You want me to shower arrows and fight with my kinsman, I will do it. Karishya vachanam tava anukulyana Krishna anushilanam. That is bhakti uttam. So that is what this process of, and Prabhupada told us, take to this process of this Hare Krishna chanting so that we can realize that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, and the soul is an eternal servant of Krishna. And we are in a place where it is not a natural condition. We are not in the natural condition. Again and again we are suffering. Samsara davana lida loka tranaya karunya gana ganatvam praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande groho sri charnaravindam. This world or this samsara that is completely again and again and again and again, that is going through the cycles of birth, death, old age, and disease. There is so much suffering. But Krishna was very kind. In his Kripa Leela, he sends his pure representative in the form of thundering showers and extinguishes the forest fire of this samsara. So there are so many different components about the soul. It's a very exhaustive topic. But having said that, one has to simply chant the holy names, continue doing it. If it doesn't happen in this lifetime, next lifetime, but it will happen. Never give up chanting the holy names. That is the formula. In Nam Aparat stage, in Nam Abhas and Shuddha Nam, no matter we are beginners or we are intermediate level of devotees or one is on a highest, purest platform, nobody gives up chanting the holy. Even Krishna himself chants the holy names, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One may ask how? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 12 years he chanted non-stop in ecstasy in the Gambhira. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Nama Chintamani, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Nitya Shuddha Nitya Mukto, Nitya Shuddha Nitya Mukto, Abhinnatvam Namna Namino. It is non-different from the name. So the names of Sri Krishna are Sri Krishna. And again, Krishna means Krishna's intimate devotees are included in it. So when we chant Hara, a deeper explanation explained by Jiva Goswami in the Mahamantra Dipika is, it is just not, most of us, we say a very, very true explanation that Hara means we are addressing the topmost energy of Krishna, Srimati Radharani. But it also includes all the Radharanis, her own associates, the gopis, the manjaris. And who are our acharyas? They are the manjaris. So when we chant Hara, we are actually first seeking their mercy. So we go at the lotus feet of Radharani through the Guru Parampara. Not that we can directly approach her. That is why the word. Otherwise, why is it that the Mahamantra is not Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe? See, Radharani has taken a very humble position. She wants that all her associates are included, all the Brajvasis are included in the word Hara. That is one of the explanations of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. It's a very deep explanation. It can take months to explain the Mahamantra itself. It's very deep again, but this is just based on this occasion. What I'm trying to pinpoint here is, yes, we are fallen. Yes, we have many difficulties. Yes, but what does the holy name give us? Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtana. It will bring us the highest, Param Vijayate, the highest victory. And what is that highest victory? The highest victory is we will go beyond the bodily concept. That highest victory is we will go beyond the world's miseries. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, when we are situated on the platform of a pure soul, Sachidananda state. That is the highest victory when we can achieve that. And once we have attained that Sachidananda state, the highest victory is further pure service, unadulterated service to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna and their associates under their guidance. That is Param Vijete Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. That is how. So thank you all very much. I will end here. And if there's any questions or remarks or corrections, please feel free to unmute yourself and please feel free to contribute anything that you would like to.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Roji. It was so deep, understanding the individual, the spirit soul, and the dharma of the spirit soul, and how a spirit soul can go back to Krishna, his original abode, original constitutional position. Since we are here in this material world covered with a lot of impurities, you covered so nicely and so wonderfully. Thank you so much for nicely guiding us and nicely giving us this nectar. Thank you so much
All
again.
glories to His Divine Grace, Prabhupada.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you for engaging me.
Thank you. Thank you. We are so fortunate to have you, Guruji. So, dear devotees, since we have this beautiful class, so anybody has anything to, any questions, any other comments, reflections, please go ahead. That is the time to ask the question.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. You were explaining Sthul Sharir, Sukshma Sharir. And what about Karan Sharir? Is there a Karan Sharir?
Yeah, Karan Sharir is basically a combination of both Sukshma and Sthul. So what happens is it makes us work to do something, karmic activities. So that's what it means, basically. So Man Buddhi Ahankar, the mana or the mind will direct the body. Do this, do that. Don't do this, don't do that. So that will build our next body. Our karma builds our next. That is why it is also known as Karan Sharir.
So when we die, three things goes, causal body, they say.
Sorry?
When death occurs, the causal body goes together.
The
Is that
Sukshma Sharir goes together unless and until we have performed bhakti. So Sukshma Sharir takes up a new Sthul Sharir based on karma along with the soul. So Sukshma Sharir is only destroyed when we are 100% situated on pure bhakti platform.
Oh, okay.
That time it will be destroyed. Otherwise, it will continue to go with us.
So if destroyed, then you don't get a next life.
Exactly. Exactly. Then we are promoted to the spiritual sky.
Thank you. And you said explanation of Ma Mantra. Where do we read from that? You said it's a lot of
There are
things.
many. I have read many different
Right.
explanations from our Gaudiya Acharyas. The one particular that I quoted was from Mahamantra Deepika by Jiva Goswami.
Can you put it on a chat box so we can understand better?
Yeah, I can put it.
And
Yeah.
also,
I will say it slowly. Mahamantra Deepika.
Deepika.
Deepika. Like we have many Matajis there. Their name is Deepika.
Oh, okay. Deepika.
Okay.
Ma Mantra by Deepika. On YouTube, I can see that.
I don't know if it is on YouTube. It's a book actually. It is all text in Sanskrit, but you can probably find it. You can find it online. I think so.
Okay. And also you mentioned about pureseva.com.
Yeah, that is the servant's website. It is bhagavad.ca or pureseva.ca. So there are different seminars and topics, and also Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and different classes. So a lot of them seminars are in detail. Because generally when we give a Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam class in a temple or in a Bhakti Vriksha, we have limited time. But so I had many sessions on different topics, so you can go through it. Pureseva.ca, pureseva.ca.
Thank you. Dandvat Pranam. You have
Dandvat
explained
Pranam,
very
Mataji.
well. Very well. I am so
Thank
pleased
you.
to hear.
Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Gaurang ki jai. Yes, is there anybody else? Hare Krishna.
Do you want to leave from there?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Nirmal Das Prabhu. Thank you, Sachi Mata. Thank you so much for your blessings. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, is there anybody else?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Anything else devotees want to share, or otherwise conclude? A few announcements. We'll put the details tomorrow, whether we'll have a class or not. So many things are happening because of Saturday we have the Yatra, Atlantic City Yatra. So we'll have some services at the temple, and I will post accordingly so that we can join in the temple for the services for Atlantic City Yatra. That's on Saturday. Saturday the Yatra is going to start at 1 o'clock to 1 to 3. And we'll be all assembled in Boardwalk, New Jersey Avenue, and Boardwalk. So that's where every year we start, and then we come to the main stage. What the name of the street? The main stage over there. It's almost less, maybe a mile or two that we take the Yatra cart on the Boardwalk. So please join everybody on Saturday for the Yatra. Also, the cooking is going to start early morning, 5 o'clock. So we are cooking for 2,000, right, Jaiprakash Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Right after Mangalarti, we'll start the cooking seva.
And we are cooking for 2,000 something?
Close to it, yes.
Close to it, yeah. So we need a lot of help, a lot of cutting vegetables. That starts off also on the Friday evening. And
Yes.
please join. And yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Anything else I would like to share? Anything else you want to add, or before we conclude? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sachinandan Prabhu, for blessing us.
Hare
And
Krishna.
the wonderful
Thank
class.
you so much for inviting me, and I'm very happy to be with all the Central New Jersey ISKCON devotees and your Bhagavad Gita study group. Thank you once again, Simeshwar Prabhu, and all the devotees, all the assembled devotees. Hare
Bhagavad Gita. Thank you. So let's
Thank
conclude.
you.
Thank you. Vanchakalpatarupasya Abhidhanam Bhavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vishnu Vrinda Ki Jai.
Vaishnava ki jai.
Jai.
Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Ki
Ananda
jai.
Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gauri
Thank you,
Premanande.
everybody. Hari
Hare
Bol.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.